just having their last meal before they were going to go back into cryosleep.
Yeah.
And this thing just starts happening. But it's been said that they actually didn't tell the actors this was going to happen, and it was a surprise to them.
Yeah.
Is that an accepted filmmaking technique?
It is and it isn't. There are certain things that are completely off limits, and then there's certain things that are fine and accepted. And a lot of it just depends on the actor. And you can ask the actor in advance, can we surprise you? And this is actually what happened in Alien, is that they knew something was going to happen. They just didn't know what it was going to be. And there's actually a scene where one of the actors gets blood sprayed on her face. And she was completely unaware that that was going to happen.
What you saw on camera was the real response. She had no idea what the hell happened.
That was the first take. It was everybody's reaction.
And then there's another scene where a character slaps another character, and they did not know that they were going to get slapped. And it's a real fine line because, a slap is an assault, Sure. I mean, unless it's during the Oscars, and then apparently it's fine. But there's a real fine line about what you can and can't do. And one of the places where it's absolutely not okay is during any sort of intimate scene.
Yeah.
That is off limits. We now have protections against that.
Brief rehearsal with the intimacy coordinator.
You could just pop on to all fours like this. Yeah.
But depending on your actor, it's acceptable because nobody cries foul.
There was going to be a rehearsal, which I think is great.
And I think in this case, nobody cried foul because, one, it was a much earlier time where you just had to accept things. And two, they were aware that at least something was going to happen. But there are actors who talk all the time about another actor improving. I think in Wolf of Wall Street, somebody hit somebody slapped somebody because they were just feeling the scene. And it really pissed off the other actor. They had to work that out. They had to, sit with the director and be like, look, that's not okay. And ultimately used the clip. It's a real fine line. But as a director, even myself, there have been times where I'm like, I don't want to tell this person what's coming because I want a genuine reaction. And so you just have to have a lot of trust in your director. You have to have trust in your actors. So it is both ethical and unethical.
Okay, I guess I kind of get that. But based on something you said, you want an authentic reaction from your actors. Isn't that what actors are supposed to be able to generate?
That's exactly
because
right,
of
Josh.
their acting skill.
Duh, of course.
That's the point that people who are like, against this sort of thing would make. And I would make that argument as well. That being said, there is something really fun about the authenticity of a surprise. Actors are amazing, but sometimes you can tell when something is just like completely a human reaction instead of a fake reaction, an acted reaction. But that is certainly the argument against it, is just let the actors do their job. But people feel so fancy when they surprise their actor and the actor does what they want them to, and then they're like, great job. I'm so glad I made that choice to scare you. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, one of the really problematic ones was Shelley Duvall from The Shining.
Yeah,
they
I've heard
were
about this.
Constantly sort of torturing her psychologically with all the things that they were doing to her that she didn't know about. And she quit the business after that movie. I mean, that was really, really problematic. So, there are certainly times when people cross the line, and you have to be careful about that. And you truly have to be careful. And the best way to sum it up is just, you have to have trust. And you have to build in, hey, I'm going to surprise you. Is that okay? I'm going to sometimes do things that are going to shock you and you're not going to be aware of. Is that okay? And then if someone says yes, then you can go about it, but you still have to do it in the most ethical way possible. Try not to push the boundaries too hard, but that's basically the answer.
Boy, Jeff, the more we do this podcast and the more I learn about the business side, the real world side of making movies, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm pretty uncomfortable with how movies get made. This is kind of one of those times. I mean, as you're talking about having this authentic, supposed authentic reaction in the midst of acting, it makes me a little squeamish from somebody who, is very much about consent, somebody who's very much about the knowing participation of people to have the capacity to make their decisions, and learning just how much of a power differential there is between studios, directors, and actors. Even those actors that we think are super, super powerful, it makes me squeamish, and this is kind of icky.
And so when you're a director and you're not thinking about the human cost of what surprising someone is going to do to them and to their mental health, that's when it gets problematic to me. But there are actors who are like, slap me, do it. I'm into this. Like, let's get an authentic reaction where they hit me in the face. And I'm like, okay, sure, let's do it. Why not? If you're open to it, even though it might be wrong, it's like we're making art here and we're all trusting each other, and so let's do it.
But again, as you described there, that's consensual and that's knowing and that's like, okay, this is how, that's fine to me.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.